Well. We are back with another Tough Talk episode. I want to say it's number 10. We've been, all over the place, but we're back. Full-length episode, big-time pay-per-view. Haven't had a pay-per-view in a little bit, so this is a nice refresher to get back into these breakdowns. But we got UFC 288 this weekend in New Jersey. RJ, how are we feeling?
Feeling good, man. I wish ticket prices weren't $1 million to go because, I don't know. I'd actually, to be honest, I was going to go to the fight because it's in New Jersey. I feel like we have to go. And then I thought I was actually going to be busy that weekend. And then I wasn't that busy that weekend. And then the tickets were really expensive. And then my boy Charles Oliveira dropped off. So I was like, And now it's this weekend and we're here. So very excited for the fights. Feeling good. This last weekend of fights, pretty crazy. The world of fighting, as we say all the time, popping off. Let's get into this card, man. There's a lot to talk about.
Let's get it rolling. Big time talents in this card. First off, we got a featured prelim with two lightweights, Drew Dober versus Matt Steamroller Frivola. These are two big-time lightweights coming up in the rankings, looking for a spot at the top, and this is the one where they can make it that spot.
Yeah, I mean, Drew Dober's been looking crazy good. Dude can crack. I mean, his last fight was Bobby Green. He just put Bobby Green out. First of all, nobody does that to my boy Bobby Green. King. Did you see that?
Yeah. Wait, what are you talking about?
Legally, Bobby Green legally changed his name to King. One word.
It's King Green now?
No. It's King.
Oh. I didn't see this. That's news to me.
Yeah. He was like, if you respect me, you call me King. If not, it is what it is. So we should refer to King, formerly known as Bobby Green.
That's amazing.
Nobody does that to King, right? So Dober's looking to rocket ship his way to the top of the division. Matt Steamroller Frivola is a beast. He's hard to deal with for anybody. He's got one of those styles that's just really annoying to deal with. So we're gonna see, man. That we say it all the time. This is one of those fights where somebody's gonna get some major shine. I'm kind of surprised. Granted, the card is stacked. I'm kind of surprised this is a prelim fight.
Yeah, me too. I think they deserve to at least open the pay-per-view, but it's the cards they were dealt, so they're still going to go out there. They're still going to fight. I think Frivola's last fight out was against a big-time contender that had a lot of hype behind his name, and if I recall, he put him out in the first. So he took that contender's... he sent him right back to a up-and-coming contender and didn't let him pedestal his way up through Frivola. So Frivola's got some momentum. Dober's obviously got some momentum. It's going to be an interesting fight.
Definitely. Can't wait to see. At least they're, the top spot on the prelims because, those guys definitely deserve some shine. Can't wait to see what happens. That's a good...
Yeah,
good. And this is a big card, so it's still a big opportunity for both of these guys. There's still going to be eyeballs.
Yeah, of course. Featured prelim. Most of the crowd will be there by that time. Eyeballs will be on them. Excited to see who wins that. Who do you got winning that, if you had to pick?
I think I'm going to go... I think I got to stick with Dober on that one because the dude just hits so hard, and he puts a pace on people. And he's got good offensive and defensive wrestling. I think he's really starting to put everything together as a professional. And, I picked against him in the King fight. And I think he's got some serious momentum. Frivola does as well. No punks. Not going to be an easy fight. But Dober's chin, that's another thing. Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, the dude just can eat shots like it's a snack, Skittles, bro. He eats punches like Skittles. So that guy, I got to ride with him on this one. I think he's been looking really good, and I'm going with Dober.
Yeah, I am also leaning on Dober. He's got the titanium chin that can pretty much withstand everything that has been thrown his way. He's got solid wrestling as is. Doesn't like to use, I mean, he does use it, but I think he prefers to strike, but he'll mix in both.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning Dober, but would not be surprised if I see a Frivola decision.
Same.
Great featured prelim to get us into this main card, and we're kicking off the main card with a return of Kron Gracie going up against Charles Jourdain, the jiu-jitsu master. Kron Gracie making his return to the UFC after, I don't know how long off, but it's been a while.
It has been a while, and you know what? I'm actually happy for that because, you know, first of all, that's Rickson Gracie's son, right? Like, Rickson Gracie, if you don't know, you don't deserve to be watching the sport. Like, that's the guy who, like, laid the blueprint for MMA, especially jiu-jitsu fighters in MMA. Like, Rickson Gracie's fought all over the world for years and years and years. He's one of the legends of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he's just, you know, he's the guy. So being his son is going to, like, put you in positions that, like, you know, Kron's what, 5-1?
Yeah, he's 5-1.
Like, yeah, he doesn't have, like, a crazy amount of experience, but just because of who he is, he's gonna get hard fights. So he took a loss, I think it was to Cub Swanson, which, look, Cub's a OG gangster in the fight game, and he has so much experience. So, like, it was a decision. You know, they might have put Kron in there a little bit too quick to go against a guy like Cub. Obviously, Cub was on, you know, the later parts of his career, and maybe they were hoping that Kron could sub him quick and then get the hype from beating somebody like Cub. Cub Swanson had other plans, won the fight. So I think it's actually a good thing for Kron to take a step away and hopefully spent the last couple years or however long it's been working on his striking. I mean, he's got a great camp. Obviously, there's great strikers, you know, coming out of California where he trains, and, like, I think this has probably been a good thing for him to take a step back, clean up some of the things. Like, obviously, we know his jiu-jitsu's world class. You know, hopefully he spent this time wisely and filled some of the gaps in his game. Jourdain, dude's a beast. I mean, he's got a ton of knockouts. He's got a bunch of submissions. You know, he likes to finish fights, and he's definitely no punk. They're not giving Kron an easy fight for his return fight. However, we have seen Jourdain get caught with some submissions because he's been sloppy. Now, you cannot mess up this much with a guy like Kron Gracie. Kron is an absolute specialist when it comes to the ground. I mean, he has trained, you know, he's had matches against Marcelo Garcia. Like, we could go down the list of absolute, like, monster legends in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that Kron is, like, just as good, if not better. So you can't afford to make any mistakes on the ground. Jourdain's going to really want to keep this standing and test out Kron's ability in the striking realm. So we're going to see if Kron filled some of those gaps. We're going to see if Jourdain can hang on. I mean, Jourdain's got a black belt, I'm pretty sure, and he's got a great ground game himself, but I don't think it's on the level. So he's going to want to keep it standing. We're going to see if Kron leveled up while he had this time off.
Yeah, it's a no tune-up fight for Kron, that's for sure. Charles Jourdain is the real deal. He's a beast. As you mentioned, he's been caught with submissions after being a little sloppy in the past. I think knowing he's going up against a Kron Gracie, that's going to amplify his focus and his knowledge of what's going on. to make sure that he either doesn't get sloppy to begin with, or he's just very aware of where he's at all times to not get caught with a submission. But at the end of the day, being a Kron Gracie, he can find that submission in pretty much wherever the fight is in the grappling department.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, I don't want to say it's rare because it happens all the time, but it's just one of those circumstances where it's like, if I'm his coach, if I'm Jourdain's coach, am I going to tell him, like, okay, this is what we have to work on because we're thinking in a defensive mindset? Or am I going to say, no, we're good. We'd love to knock people out. We're just going to work, takedown defense and strikes and maybe more uppercuts, maybe more knees up the middle. Are we going to work more towards my strengths or work more towards our weaknesses? And it's a really interesting position to see the type of game plan Jourdain comes out with. Kron obviously is going to want to test out his striking and see how he feels, knowing he can always rely on his jiu-jitsu.
Right. Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. It's that game planning mindset, and that's really the coach's game planning of, do I want to play to my defense or do I want to play to my strengths where I know I'm good? And that usually comes down to coaching. If I'm obviously it relies on the fighter to operate on that game plan, but good coaching will give you a solid game plan in that department, and whatever they want to do, they're going to stick with it and go with that game plan. So I'm excited to see what game plan he goes with.
Yeah, I mean, it is on the fighter ultimately at the end of the day. Whatever happens in there is going to be their instincts, and it's just going to happen. However, if you just spent the last 8, 10, 12 weeks doing certain things, like your muscle memory is going to be at least a little bit, pushed in that direction. So, I've heard fighters say and coaches say, like, you don't really want to, like, we're not going to plan for the bad.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to, like, be like, okay, well, he's going to be better at us than this, so we're going to try to think this way. It's like, that's kind of like a bad way to think. But again, these coaches they know more than I do. So
me too.
we're just gonna, it's like, I'm not trying to act like I know better than their coaches, but you don't want to see someone get stuck in a defensive thought process where you're just waiting for Kron to shoot on you. You know what I mean? Like, that's a bad game plan in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll have a game plan put in place to negate Kron's jiu-jitsu abilities and play to their strengths, but I'm excited to see how it plays out, and a great opening to the main card. Great return of a legend in the mixed martial arts world, fighting a beast in Charles Jourdain. So it's only one way to find out what happens, and that's this Saturday.
I'm curious to see one last little piece. I'm curious to see if Nathan comes out in Kron's corner.
That would be interesting. Was he always in his corner? Cool.
I don't think so, but they are teammates. Right. Nathan's actually listed as one of Kron's head coaches, which is interesting. Yeah. So that would be kind of cool just to see Nate, on the television for a UFC event, because I already miss him. It's only been a couple months.
What's an episode without mentioning a Diaz brother? So, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, he's also dealing with all this stuff from New Orleans.
Right.
So
he might not be.
Maybe we don't see him. Yeah, he might not be now that I think about it, but whatever.
It's all right. We move forward. Great opening to the main card, as we said, and a great second fight on this card with the return of Bryce Mitchell after a interesting loss to Ilia Topuria, fighting an undefeated Movsar Evlaev, something along those lines. Undefeated fighter. Bryce Mitchell is getting no favors with this comeback fight.
Yeah, no, they're not doing him any favors. It's one of those things. It's hard to say. It might actually be a good matchup for Bryce. Bryce is extremely dangerous on the ground. A lot of his wins come by submission. Evlaev, he's obviously very dominant. He's undefeated fighter. His last like good chunk of wins have been decision. Bryce Mitchell hasn't fought like the top 5 guys, but he's fought some names. Like I put, even though the guy's I think 16-0 or 17-0, like he's definitely legitimate fighter, obviously. But I think Bryce, as far as like the spotlights and the big fights and the big names, I think he's got a little bit of edge just in that realm. And then I think it's going to be kind of clear Evlaev is going to probably wrestle a good amount. And that might play right into Bryce's wheelhouse. Granted, Bryce also just got submitted in his last fight, which I don't think any of us would have seen that coming, because Bryce is an ace on the ground. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see. Again, this is another one, depending on the game plans, on everything. I'm excited to see if Bryce has some takedown defense, and I'm excited to see Evlaev's submission defense, because it's more than likely going to get into that realm. And we're going to see who's been sharpening those tools, you know what I mean? I don't really know who to give the edge in striking to. Maybe Bryce?
Maybe. I think it's going to be...
It's hard to say.
I think it's going to be a game of who mixes it the best, who gets in on that shot the best. And because they're both going to want to offensively wrestle, and it's going to come down to your setups on how you get in, I think, because... two offensive wrestlers, one of them has to play defense if one shoots, so who's got the better offensive wrestling might be the game changer.
Absolutely. And sometimes we've seen it before. Sometimes when you have 2 grapplers, it ends up being a kickboxing match because nobody wants to test the other guy's stuff, or they sort of cancel each other out when it comes to that realm. So it's definitely an interesting fight. A lot of pressure on Bryce coming off a loss and then having an undefeated fighter. It's a lot of pressure.
I'm excited I'm excited to see where Bryce's head is at this point. Like, what's his mindset coming in? Because after his loss to Poirier, we saw some backstage videos and interviews and stuff, and he was talking about retirement after that Ilya loss. So I hope that might have been just emotions right after the fight or whatever it may be, but hopefully he comes with a strong mindset and is back to his normal ways, excited to fight. He has this fighting spirit, so I'm hoping to see the best Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've had bad practices where I'm like, man, why am I even doing this anymore? Like, you know what I mean? I get it. This is sort of why it's like not that cool to like interview guys right after. Like, it was his first loss. He got finished. It's like, that's not like, he's not, let him like, sometimes you got to like take a minute to collect your mind. Poirier kind of put it on him a little bit, and I don't think Bryce was ready for that. Bryce was riding a lot of momentum on his way up, and Poirier just showed up that night, ready to eat someone's heart. So like, that's no shade on Bryce Mitchell. I'm sure he got better from that, but at the same time, you got to take what he says after that with a little bit of grain of salt, because it's like, man, he just lost his first fight. He got finished, and he was probably like, man, what, that emotions are running high right after that. So obviously he's back. I'm sure he would still love to be a champion. He's been champion in other organizations. I know he knows what that feels like, what that tastes like, that victory. And he's got the skills. So we'll see if he can pass this test. It's a big test for him.
2 very skilled fighters. It's going to be interesting. Is Evlaev going to ride that undefeated streak another one and climb his way up the rankings? Or is Bryce Mitchell going to take that away from him and get back in the win column? I'm excited to see this fight because 2 talented guys going up against each other. It's going to be a fun fight.
Definitely.
Moving into women's MMA, me and RJ just, we have the highest praise for women's MMA. And I know a lot of MMA fans don't, but they're talented. And this one is just another one of those talented ones. Jessica Andrade has been at the top of the game forever, going up against a contender in Yan Xiaonan. Xiaonan's last time out was against Mackenzie Dern, and she got the win in a main event 5-round fight, and she looked good doing it. She was in some trouble sometimes, and she got worked out of it and got the win. So she's definitely a contender in the game.
Yeah, I don't know much. I'm sorry. Say her name.
Xiaonan.
Yan Xiaonan. Yep. Yan, I don't know outside like the Mackenzie Dern fight. I'm not super familiar with her. Andrade, we've seen a million times. She's always fight. She fights a lot. So just right off the bat, a little bit of push goes towards Andrade because we've seen her in there so much. She has the experience with the top. You know, she was champ. Like she's been doing this thing for so long. Yan Xiaonan, she's got a good record. She's obviously on the come up. To beat Mackenzie Dern, definitely not easy. We haven't seen anybody else really able to do it. It's going to be an interesting fight. It's a different stylistic matchup. Andrade she's good everywhere, and she's just a gritty girl, man. Like she can like take a punch. She could throw 10 back at you. She's got kicks. She's got wrestling. She's got jiu-jitsu. Like she's as good as they come in that division. If Yan Xiaonan gets a win, that might push her into like some title opportunities like that. This is like a big test for her to see where she goes within this division. Andrade kind of just like says yes and takes on every fighter that they put in front of her. This is just another day in the office for her, but she definitely has to come prepared and focused.
Yeah.
If so another just a great fight. They really put together. This is why I love the UFC, bro, because they put these fights on where it's almost like do or die, no matter what. Like they put two people that are both like kind of in similar spots.
Yeah.
Like they're both trying to get here, and they're both here, and it's like only one of you can get here.
Yeah. I've been thinking of Jessica Andrade's last few opponents because she fought in like within 2 weeks of each other, and I'm really blanking on the names right now. But she put a beating on. Don't have the name, but she put a beating bad in that 3-rounder.
Yeah, and didn't she go up in weight or something?
She went up in weight on the one after that where she took the loss to the top contender in that division. And I'm blanking so bad on all of these names, but she put a beating on someone, and then
girl fights a lot.
And then she came back 2 weeks later against a killer at the top, ended up taking the loss, but still shows that she is a fighter and she will fight anybody. And now she has a full camp to prepare for Yan Xiaonan. And from what I've seen from Xiaonan, she's got sharp hands. Her hands are something else. So we might see a wrestling game plan from Andrade, depending on how she feels on the feet. But it's going to be interesting. The styles are very, very interesting in this matchup, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, same. Anybody who isn't into like women's MMA, they're tripping because these girls are good. Like you can't like deny anything.
They're killers, and they're fighting for championships because that's what they want. Now, we have 2 fights left, and this one just got made on 2 weeks' notice with 2 top welterweights. This is the official number 1 contender fight in the welterweight division. Gilbert Burns versus Bilal Muhammad. Gilbert Burns is fighting on, what is that, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks since the last pay-per-view? It's something crazy like that.
Something crazy, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
In a 5-rounder for the co-main, by the way. Just had to point that out.
Yeah, dude, so Gilbert is never... It's so funny, and I think we talked about this maybe off air, but like Gilbert's like, he's like, I'm not going to fight unless it's for the title. And then he's like, just kidding, I'll fight next week. It's like he's just, like, if you offer the guy a fight, he's going to take it. You know what I mean? the fact that it's against a guy like Bilal, who's the unofficial, official #1 contender, that does it kind of gives everybody a hint that, like, hey, one of these guys is more than likely going to get a title shot, especially if they do something fantastic. Gilbert literally fought, 3 times this year?
This is going to be
already.
This is going to be his third, I believe. I think it was
this is
Neil
his third?
Magny in January, Jorge just now, and now this is 3. I think.
Okay, so 3 fights. We're not even halfway through the year.
We're 5 months in right now.
We're 5 months, the beginning of 5 months into this year, and this is his 3rd fight. This guy loves to fight, man. So we know, and this can play one of 2 ways, right? He's either super sharp. He just had 2 great fights. He didn't take a whole lot of damage. Like, he's just rolling his camps.
He's just rolling
right together. Yeah, which either means he's super sharp, or it means his body's beat the hell up because he's been in a fight camp for this last 6, 7, 8 months. It can go either way. Bilal sort of coming off the couch. At first, he wasn't even sure if he could make the weight, so now they're just going right into a 5-rounder. I don't know how I feel for Bilal under those circumstances. If we're not looking at his skills, if we're just looking at the fact that Gilbert fought 2 weeks ago and that Bilal was sitting on the couch 2 weeks ago, I'm going to chalk 1 on Gilbert's side for now. But when you look at Bilal and the performances that he's had in the last couple of years, when you're talking about Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, when you're talking about avenging the loss to Vincente Luque, however you say it, I'm sorry, Vincente Luque, when you talk about the beatdown, the bullying of Sean Brady most recently, dude, Sean Brady is not a punk. That dude is the future of fighting. And he just was like, you're not ready to be up in the top 5, sit the fuck back down. And it was like, wow. Like, Bilal Muhammad is no joke. They were going to put him with Shavkat, which was like...
interesting.
Wouldn't have been right. I'm happy that they didn't do that. Too. Because if he lost that fight, it just wouldn't have been a good look. Even the Brady fight. I mean, they gave him the Brady fight. If he lost that fight, it would have been like bad news for Bilal. They're putting every roadblock at this dude's path to get to the title. And at least now you got a guy who they're both at the same spot. Gilbert's been at the top, got his title shot against Kamaru a couple years back. They're both like looking for the title shot, and they both earned the spot that they're at, and they're both trying to get another crack. So like, it's the right time for this fight. Crazy. You go, and I'm gonna try to think about.
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this one. I follow Gilbert puts a lot on his YouTube with like what he does on a daily basis and how he trains, how he recovers. And he seems to be very matured nowadays. He takes care of himself very well. He's very disciplined in what he does. He trains very smart now. He used to be a brawler that kind of just wanted to get into that firefight and suffered some losses because of it. Now he's playing to his strengths, as we mentioned earlier. He's playing to his jiu-jitsu more. He's playing to his wrestling more, where he's better, in my opinion. His striking is obviously at the top, but he was a jiu-jitsu fighter first. And I think he's going back to his roots, and he's here for wins. And whatever gets him the win is going to get him the win. Bilal, obviously, is on a huge fight win streak. He's beaten everybody. You mentioned Sean Brady last time out. He was training with the Dagestanis, but I don't know what that is right now with Ramadan and all of that. I don't know what that looks like. So I don't know what his training looks like nowadays, or where he's training.
It's a good point.
So
I didn't even think of that. That's a great point.
At a surface level, it doesn't look ideal in any means for Bilal Muhammad. I mean, he was asking for a catch weight, as you said, so that's never a good sign to begin with. 2 weeks notice, not ideal. Gilbert just fought 2 weeks ago, which who knows? We don't know how that's going to play. And this Ramadan thing, we don't know what his training looks like. So for all we know, he could be training, he could be in his best shape of his life and come out here and put on a dominant performance for all we know. But I think when you look surface level, because that's all we really know, we don't have the insider, I lean towards Gilbert Burns. I think he's on right now, and I think he's looking for that title shot.
Yeah, look, I mean, Ramadan, right? You don't eat during the day. Like, if he thinks he's just going to train with no food in his belly for a couple weeks and then take out a guy like Gilbert Burns, who's fresh off of, who's been staying active, this might be a tough one for Bilal, man. It's hard to pick, bro, because everything in my head is just like, yeah, Gilbert's going to win this all day long. Like, that's my first thought is Gilbert's got this in the bag. But then I'm forced to remember that, dude, Bilal's got what, like 9 in a row, 8 in a row? Like, this guy's the real deal. And I just hope it's a good, fun fight, and may the best man win. Like, I'm leaning on Gilbert a little bit.
Me too. And I just hope, like you said, it's best man win. I just hope there's no controversy so that we don't have questions on who's next in line for the title shot. Because in my opinion, the winner should absolutely be next in line after this Covington and Leon, which hasn't been announced yet, but that should be coming up soon for an announcement because they're both kind of waiting to fight. So we got Covington and Leon at the top, and I think there's no reason why the winner of this should not get the title shot next.
The winner of this fight, we've talked about call-outs. The winner of this fight absolutely has to call out by name Leon Edwards and Colby Covington.
Have to.
So whatever happens over there, doesn't matter. The winner of this fight needs to say, I'm ready for both of you. I'm going to come and I'm next. I'm taking, I don't care who. I'm taking one of you for that belt and we're fighting and that's it. Like, you have to call it out, bro. And I'm telling you what, like, I just said I'm leaning on Gilbert. I'm going to be like so sad for Bilal if he loses.
That'd be brutal.
Because, bro, he just put in the craziest amount of work to get to where he's at, and he probably could have just waited for the next shot, but like he didn't. He's doing the right thing by
fighting,
taking a number one contender fight. But man, oh man, like, this guy, if he wins, it'll be one of the most epic roads to a title shot that we've ever seen. Oh, just as epic as Leon himself. Because that just happened with Leon.
Yeah.
Same thing. He had like 9 or 10 fights undefeated, and it's took so long for him to get his shot. So I'm excited, man. May the best man win. This a great fight.
Yeah, phenomenal fight. Love that it's 5 rounds too. I mean, I'm here for the 5 rounds all day. That probably doesn't benefit Bilal very much because we know Gilbert's been active. His cardio is probably through the roof. But either way, 5 rounds, make it official. Number one contender fight. Call your shot if you get the win, and may the best man win.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Both these guys are good at everything.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that fight. And I don't want to say they saved the card because the card is still great. But when Beneil and Charles dropped off this card, it definitely took a hit. So for both of these guys to jump into this spot and take the co-main event, like, props to both of them for taking the fight. And I hope they give us a great fight. This is one of those fights, hopefully both men win.
Right. Both stock rises.
Just make it fun. You both did the right thing. You both saved the spot on the card. And as long as it's a great fight, nobody loses.
Agreed. May the best man win. Great co-main. That leads us into our main event of the evening, the return of Triple C Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain, the Funk Master Sterling. And right off the bat, we just have to talk about how unfortunate Aljamain Sterling's title run contention has been.
Yeah.
Every possible disadvantage or a little tally mark next to his name that could be made has been made.
Asterix.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Peter Yan knee, which started it all. Then you go out there, you beat Peter Yan in a closely contested battle for the title. Then you go out, is TJ next? Was there another one in between that? Or was TJ right after that?
I think it was
Then
TJ.
you go out and TJ has that shoulder injury before the fight even started. Shoulder pops out in the first minute. So people are already going to asterisk that. All I'm hoping for in this main event is a clear winner with no controversy, whoever that may be.
Yeah, he certainly had no luck in that sense. None of those things, by the way, were his fault. Like, I mean, he took the fights, he showed up to fight, and he did what he had to do. The Peter Yan thing, like, especially in the first one, it's like, Yan threw an illegal knee. Like, nobody wants to win the championship like that. And what made it worse was his
acting
charade.
Oh,
yeah, like he pushed the whole like he pushed it a little too much, and it looked kind of goofy. But it is what it is. Like, you got kneed in the face, and you won the belt. Whatever. Came back, and the fight was close, but like, I don't know, man. In my opinion, it was like the parts that were close were close. The parts that weren't close were completely dominant.
Was Aljamain on the back?
on the side of Aljamain. Like Jan had basically no answer for that. So, Aljamain's a beast, bro. He really is. It is very unfortunate that TJ's arm fell off like 5 times in that last fight. TJ was getting older. He retired. Whatever. Aljo, and now to break down this fight, Cejudo's a monster. One of the greatest combat athletes to ever live.
Yep.
He really,
no arguing.
The youngest Olympian gold medalist, 2 weight division champion, coming back to take what he never lost. The one thing about this is, first of all, Henry's been out, right, for a while, doing his thing. He started like getting kind of famous. He started taking on the coaching role. He's coming back to fight. Now, is it a winnable fight for Henry? Of course. You can never count Henry out. But Aljamain Sterling is gigantic.
He's massive. He's so big.
He's huge for this weight division. And he's no slouch when it comes to wrestling. So you have to give Cejudo the edge in wrestling, I think. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as like 1, 2, 3. I put Aljamain on his back. I really don't think it's going to be that easy. And if this fight stays standing, Aljamain is the much longer, much rangier, much bigger, much more powerful guy. So it's an interesting fight. I don't know how else to call it. I mean, I like to see Aljamain move up in weight and, finish this chapter off and then go up to 145. I think it would be great for that division. I would love to see. He's always in great shape, but he misses sometimes. I would love to see him go up and do his thing there, a little bit more hydrated. But then Henry, it's like, what's Henry going to do? This is my question to you, Tyler. What is Henry going to do if he wins? Does he stay in the division and start beating people up? Or does he try to challenge Volk and become a 3-division champion? Like, what's going to happen? Because I'd love to see that too.
That's a great question. Dude, I don't know. After seeing the fight that Volkanovski just put up against Islam, how can you even wrestle Volkanovski? And if we're talking striking, Henry doesn't hold a candle to Alexander Volkanovski's striking, no offense. But Henry's only path to victory in that fight would be wrestling, and that's going to be a tough one to get Volk down for a while. But back to this fight, or back to what your question was, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. Because if he wins this Bantamweight championship again, who's next? You have contenders coming up, but it's hard to pick anybody to fight Henry Cejudo, depending on how he wins this fight, too, if he wins this fight.
Yeah, the only two people I can even think of, right, where there's any type of a storyline, like let's say Henry wins and stays in the division. The only type of storyline there is Dvalishvili coming up and like trying to avenge his training partner and friend, which that would be a crazy fight because, again, stylistically, like it would just be a
great
crazy
build-up.
Yeah, oh yeah. The story's there. It's already there for you because of the friendship.
Yeah. Then
you have Sean O'Malley, who's been talking all that crap to Henry. They did that thing like, I don't know, it might have been a couple months ago, where Sean was trying to do an interview and Henry was like, "I think you stink." And then Sean was like, "Who are you?" Remember? And he was like, "Seriously? Like, I'll fight you if you're like, do you fight? Like, or are you just, I forget what he said. It was classic though. He was just like, "Are you even like fighting?" But look, now he's getting tested by USADA. I'm sure he's training very hard. That's a competitor. Like, Henry Cejudo is a lifelong competitor.
That is it.
This dude does not know anything else but like preparing for the biggest test of his life. Like, that's been his life. And he knows how to win, man. He just knows how to win. His mentality cannot be broken. Aljamain Sterling definitely has his hands full. X's and O's, it's going to be a close fight just because of the sheer size of Sterling.
Yeah.
I've already said, the styles. Sterling's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got great wrestling. Got good enough striking to deal with someone like Cejudo. My biggest question is going to be like, what happens after this fight? Because both of these guys are talking about going up or fighting these people, or like, where is the rest of the division going to be?
Yeah.
After this fight, because is Henry just going to do the George St. Pierre,
one and done,
win the belt, and then be like, I'm out again. See you later. That was fun. I put another gold belt on my resume. Like,
there's a lot of questions.
I kind of can't believe the fight. Like, when I first heard about the fight, I was like, wow, I wonder if that's really going to happen. Now it's next week, so I guess it's happening.
Yeah, It's hard whenever you have this situation in a bantamweight division that is this stacked and this many contenders to just inject another person up at the top who hasn't like been in the rankings or hasn't been fighting, and you just throw them right back in there, because then it throws a whole loop in this whole division, in 145's division, because you don't know what these guys are going to do next fight. It's just tough. It's tough to call.
35, right? 35?
Yeah. But like, both of them are talking to go 145. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's just funny too, because like, Henry was a champion at 35, but he hasn't fought any of these contenders. Yeah. You're talking Sean O'Malley, Dvalishvili, Corey Sandhagen, Cheeto Vera, Peter Yan, like all like that. Those are the guys right there, and the old champs coming back to get the shot at the belt. But he hasn't fought any of those guys. Those guys have been waiting in line, fighting each other, going to war and getting beat up, for the shot. And then Henry comes back, gets the shot. He almost owes it to the division to, like, you got to either fight those guys or get out of here. Like, you can't. It's kind of weird that he got this position.
Yeah, I mean,
but I get it. I get it though. He's the guy. Like, I get it.
He's. I don't know. I'm just thinking fight breakdown now. We've been talking a lot of outside stuff. I don't even know who I'm taking in this fight. If I'm being honest, I say this, take it with a grain of salt, however you want to take it. From what I have seen in my experience, Aljamain Sterling striking is below average. It is. From my eyes, that's just what I believe, and I could be very wrong. And, you know, all these hardcore striking fans can come at me in the comments or whatever you want. I just don't see his striking as a big threat. I see his striking is helping him threaten the takedown, which is why his wrestling is so good, because he strikes just enough to get you thinking you're striking, and then you're on your back, or he's on your back. And when you're going up against a Henry Cejudo, who is already going to be hard to take down because he's so short, he's going to be hard to take down.
Sure.
He's an Olympic gold medalist wrestler, so he's got the nod in wrestling, pure wrestling. I just think Henry's mind in the fight game is so good to where his game plan is going to be on point. His striking, I would give the nod to Henry Cejudo every day of the week. And I think if Henry wanted to keep this on the feet and just strike with him, I think he would win a decision or put him out on the feet. So when I think about this fight, I lean towards Henry Cejudo. And I don't take much into that time off, because now John Jones is he's an alien. He's a different breed. He's the greatest of all time. So him going off for 2 years is a little different, because he's just that dude. He can come back like nothing. But I think Henry Cejudo will come back like he never left, and I think he will take the dub however he really wants.
Yeah, look, when you if you're questioning a guy like Henry Cejudo, let's just look at his last 4 fights. Demetrius Johnson, TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, Marlon Moraes. These are very dangerous, very hard to beat guys, and he finished most of them. That says
all of
lot.
Them, I think. Oh, not Demetrius, but yeah.
He didn't finish Demetrius, but I mean, he finished TJ, finished Dominic. They were kind of flash knockouts.
Yeah.
In a way, those guys were still conscious. But when you have the small guys and he hits you 97 times before you can get up, it's okay,
yeah,
you got him. You know what I mean? It's
unless the ref stopped it.
The ref called it. Yeah, I mean, Dom said he was on his way up. You got to give me a break until I get up, which I understand. TJ vocalized his what's the word? When you're pissed off about the decision.
I don't have the word either.
He was like, oh man, what the hell? I was still good. And that's what guys say when they get beat up. But, this guy's good, man. He's really, really good. He's been coaching people. Henry's a master of distance control, distance management. His stance is not a wrestling stance. He's got all the wrestling in the world, but his stance is kind of like a hopping in and out karate stance. He's got a really wide base. He bounces. He can pop in, hit you with a couple things, change levels. He's so good at knowing his range, up and down, faking the shots. I don't know how old Henry is either, but
he's not that old.
He's not that old. X's and O's it's hard to break this fight down, man. Aljamain Sterling, the biggest thing going for Aljamain is his size and his grappling. Now, is his size? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying to pick, and I'm I don't know. Part of me wants to ride with Aljamain, bro, because he's been doing the work. He's been showing up, defending the belt. He's so slick on the ground. Excuse me. He's very, very slick on the ground. We've never really seen Henry dominated on the ground, at least not in recent memory. And just the size, bro, the size. It's going to be such an interesting fight. I don't even know what I hope. I would love just for the fan in me to see a spectacle. I would love to see Cejudo win and then go fight Volkanovski. Now, I'm not saying that's fair or that's right or that's what should happen, but just to glimpse at greatness, right? To be the guy that I'm gonna go get Volk because he's never been beat. Like I'm gonna go or beat once, whatever. I'm gonna go against that guy. The chance of becoming the 3-weight division champion, the first person to ever do that in the UFC, I think, would be like you have to call this guy the GOAT. Like every week, somebody else makes a statement as to why they're the freaking GOAT. 2 months ago, it was Volkanovski. Last month, it was John Jones. This month, it's Cejudo's chance to be like, no, I'm me. The GOAT. I'm the guy. Like, I could get all the belts. I could win all the gold. Like, I could come out of retirement and beat the best guy. Like, I'm the GOAT. It's interesting stuff, man. I love it. I'm here for it. I can't wait to watch. I'm here for it.
I want to watch some good fights, high level fights. I had something in my head to say and it's gone. So I'm just, you know what? I'm here for the fights. I'm here for the fights.
I'm here for it, baby. Go through real quick, all 5. Just say the name of your winner.
Right. So we got
make your picks.
Kron Gracie, Charles Jourdain. I'm gonna pick Kron by submission. I'm gonna go Bryce Mitchell by decision. I'll go Andrade by decision. I'm gonna go Gilbert Burns by submission. And Henry Cejudo by TKO.
What? Oh, I love it.
I'm going.
I think we're actually.
Going bold.
You're going all out. Yeah, I love that. I think I'm almost identical to your picks. I'm going Kron submission. I think he's gonna find his. I think he's gonna find it. I'm gonna go Bryce Mitchell. Submission.
All right.
Yeah, I could see a submission there. I think it's going to be in the realm of grappling a lot, and I'm going to go Bryce Mitchell by submission. I'm going to go Andrade decision or TKO. I don't know. It's possible, but she'll probably get the decision. I'm going to go Gilbert Burns by decision. Right. I think he's going to. Then again, it's a 5-round fight. Anything can happen. The sub might show up. I wouldn't be surprised. However, that fight goes. And then I'm gonna go. I don't know how to pick this last.
We
fight.
Need an answer.
I know. This is crazy. It might, dude. I'm trying to think, and I got like this flash visual of just Henry getting a TKO in the first round and just like going insane and shocking
steal my
the world.
Pick.
So if I'm looking to do a crystal ball, I could like see that, but I don't know, man. That's a hard one to pick. I'm not going to pick the last fight.
Are you
because
kidding?
I really don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't know. Like I don't know. Because I could see going so many ways. All right.
We need an answer.
Right.
You have to pick someone.
All right, you said Henry.
I said Henry TKO.
All right, then just to, I was gonna ride with you and say Henry somehow. Man, it might be though. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna ride with you, bro.
Henry
I'm with
TKO?
you. Man. I'm with you, Henry TKO, bro, because the dude starts off fast. He might catch Aljo slipping. If he doesn't, bro, and if Aljo gets on his back,
it could be a long night.
He could drink a colada and, and text
you don't
his coach.
think Henry has been practicing back escapes for the past 10 weeks?
I'm sure he has, but, I mean, he's a wrestler. That's not his best position,
right.
I'm sure. That's no wrestler's best position. And it's Aljo's best position. And Aljo's gigantic. Like I'm telling you, like size doesn't always make or break the fight, but in this case, dude, Aljo's huge. If he gets on top of you, it's gonna be a hard night. Even if he doesn't finish you, it's gonna be hard to get him off.
Agreed.
It is. It's flat out. It's gonna be hard. It doesn't matter how good you are at scrambling, pick up a single leg. Like, dude, if he gets on your back and puts his body lock in, It's like,
It's tough.
okay,
Yeah.
next round. You lost it. You lost that round. Let's
Get 'em
try it again
next.
in the next one. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but
There's our picks.
I don't
We
know.
made our picks.
Yeah, I guess.
That's our picks. We made
It
our
is.
picks. New Jersey is going to be live this weekend. UFC 288 is
Poppin',
going to be
man.
very exciting.
I'm going to keep my eye out for cheap tickets.
We might end up being in there.
They might go down. If it doesn't sell out like the day before, they might like get cheaper.
I'm in. So you guys might see us there.
We'll be up in the nosebleeds. The fighters will look.
We're going to be
this
up in the
big.
nosebleeds watching the TV anyway.
Stoked
Yeah,
to be there.
Just happy to be there. But there's our breakdown for UFC 288. We made our picks. We made our breakdowns. It's going to be an interesting weekend of fights. There's a little bit of everything, so it's going to be fun. I got nothing really. I got nothing left. Like, comment, subscribe. The YouTube has been bumping, so if you're watching this, go watch all of our other videos because there's a lot up right now. Stay tuned for part 2 of our UFC bracket. We just made part 1. Nothing else I really have to mention. That's all I got.
Yeah, Tyler, pleasure as always. We could talk about this shit all day. Everybody, go watch our shit because if you enjoy listening to us talk, we do a lot of it. We got a lot. We're trying to put as many videos out as we possibly can. We're trying to come up with new ideas every day, and we just love this stuff so much. You know what I mean? So please, if you're listening to me right now, like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends, somebody you know likes watching MMA or jiu-jitsu or kickboxing or boxing, whatever. Go tell them to watch our shit, please, and thank you. Support your homies. Support us, please.
Tell your friends,
you.
tell your family, and tell your pets. Tell them all before this ship is to the moon because we're not stopping until, we're not stopping, period, actually. So we're going to the top. Big episode.
I'll never retire.
This episode will be up, and then there's still something big coming. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah.
It may have gotten delayed a little bit, but don't you worry. This week it should be coming. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.